Welcome to Throned Hope. If you're tired, confused, or wondering if God is still working in your life, this message is for you. You didn't click this by accident. This is heaven's reminder. God is not done with you yet. So lean in, let go, and listen. Have you ever looked at your life and thought, this is not how it was supposed to go? You had dreams, plans, hopes. You imagined a future with joy and clarity. But now, it feels like everything is upside down. The people you thought would stay, left. The doors you thought would open, closed. The timing you thought would be perfect, delayed. And you've been sitting in the tension between faith and frustration. You still believe in God, but you're not sure what He's doing anymore. You pray, but the words feel hollow. You worship, but the fire feels dim. You smile for others, but you cry in secret. And through it all, a quiet voice inside you asks, God, do you still see me? Here's the answer, yes. Not only does He see you, He's with you, right in the middle of your confusion, right in the center of your storm. He hasn't walked away. He hasn't turned His back. He hasn't changed His mind about you. He's closer than you think. In fact, sometimes the silence is where He speaks the loudest. Because you see, faith isn't just built in answered prayers. Faith is forged in the waiting, in the wrestling, in the wondering. Real faith is not shiny. It's not perfect. It's not polished. Real faith is raw. Real faith bleeds. Real faith cries out, God, I don't understand, but I still choose you. Maybe that's what God is building in you right now. A faith that isn't based on outcomes, but rooted in relationship. Not dependent on how good life is, but on how good He is. Even when life breaks your heart. Because here's what we forget. Broken things are the things God loves to use. He chose Moses, a stuttering man with a temper, to lead a nation. He chose Rahab, a woman with a past, to protect His people. He chose David, a forgotten shepherd, to slay a giant and become a king. He chose Paul, a man who once persecuted Christians, to write most of the New Testament. So if you feel too broken, too far gone, too flawed, remember, you're in perfect company. God doesn't call the perfect. He perfects the called. He chooses the least likely to do the most extraordinary. Why? Because when the world sees what He does through people like you, they can't explain it. And that's the point. It's not about you being strong enough. It's about His strength showing up in your weakness. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting to feel worthy. You'll never be worthy enough. But grace isn't about worth. It's about love. It's about a Father who looks at you, broken, messy, tired, and says, you are still mine, and I still have plans for you. Maybe you don't need a new plan. Maybe you just need new perspective. Maybe what looks like a detour is really divine direction. Maybe what feels like loss is actually pruning. Maybe the closed door wasn't rejection. It was protection, because what you think is the end might just be the beginning. God isn't trying to hurt you. He's trying to heal you. But healing doesn't always look the way we expect. Sometimes it's lonely. Sometimes it's slow. Sometimes it breaks you down before it builds you up. But God never tears without rebuilding. He never breaks without blessing. He never removes without restoring something better. And if you're in a season of pain right now, hold on. Because pain is not pointless. Every tear you've cried, He's caught. Every night you've tossed in confusion, He's seen. Every prayer you whispered in the dark, He's heard. And He is working, not just around you, but inside of you. He's working on your character, your calling, your capacity to love, to forgive, to stand tall even when you feel weak. God doesn't rush the process, because he's not just interested in where you're going, he's shaping who you're becoming. And maybe, just maybe, you're becoming exactly who you're meant to be. A warrior who fights even when tired. A believer who stands even when shaken. A soul who chooses joy even in sorrow. A heart who says yes, even through tears. God can use that kind of heart. And that's why the enemy has tried so hard to break you. That's why the attacks have been so personal. That's why the lies have been so loud. Because hell knows what heaven is birthing in you. But don't give in. Don't let go. Don't lose heart. This is not the end. This is the stretch before the breakthrough. This is the test before the testimony. This is the moment where you keep walking, even with a limp. Because something sacred happens when you don't give up. You start to see God show up in places you never expected. You hear him in the silence. You feel him in the stillness. You realize that even if nothing changes around you, something is changing inside you, and that's enough. Because God doesn't just want to change your situation, he wants to change you. So let him heal your heart. Let him redirect your steps. Let him renew your hope. Because your best days are not behind you, they're ahead of you. You haven't missed your moment. You haven't failed beyond repair. You're not disqualified. You are chosen. And nothing, no mistake, no delay, no storm can cancel what God has called you to. So rise again, breathe again, hope again. Your story isn't over. In fact, the next chapter is about to be the one that makes everything before it makes sense. Just wait. Just trust. Just stay. Because the same God who met you in the valley will lead you to the mountaintop. The same God who saw you broken will lift you into beauty. The same God who watched you crawl will teach you to soar. So this is your reminder. You are not too late. You are not too lost. You are not too broken. You are exactly where God needs you to be for what he's about to do next. Thank you for watching Throned Hope. If this message reached your soul, send it to someone who needs light in their darkness. Subscribe for more truth, more hope, more of Jesus. And always remember, God's plan for your life is still unfolding, and it's going to be beautiful.